When you start implementing process, system, and you do it in a very human way, could it actually lower your blood pressure? I don't know. Hey, it's Scott Beebe with the Business on Purpose podcast, and we just got done with our 4 Steps to Business Freedom group coaching call for this week. And I had to take a screenshot in the chat window while we were having open discussion about some of the coaching questions that some of our heroic small business owners were throwing out today that we were walking through. One of the owners wrote in the chat window that my blood pressure has been lowered from dangerously high to perfect by simply implementing the program. And there was only a partial joke in that. About 3 months ago, this particular business owner was staring in the cauldron of chaos, completely consumed by overcommitment, lack of process, people going in all different places in all different directions, having to go back and redo things. It was real madness for him. So much so that a trip that they had been planning for over a year as a family, he literally thought he was going to have to decline to go on the trip at the last minute because of the commitments that he had made in the business. Now, fortunately, we worked through that, and he was able to pull through most of what he needed to get done, and then we really pushed him to feel comfortable to go on the trip anyway, even though not being completely done because of the larger commitment that he had made to his family. And so, in the midst of this, he begins to implement process, to implement his vision, to implement the things that he had written down on his delegation roadmap, to implement daily huddles that he had started doing with his team at the end of the day, beginning to implement those very small things. And in a snapshot that I wish I could share with you over a podcast, and I should have screenshotted it, but it just happened so fast, he held up a little packet of papers. And that packet of papers might just look like a packet of papers to you. But the reality is what was on that paper is what had positioned him in a place for his blood pressure to start receding, for sanity to begin to emerge back into his life, for chaos to be reduced and to be quelled. On those sheets of paper were simple little processes that his team would begin to implement. And he's already started to share with his team. And I asked simply, how have they responded? And he said, they love it. See, a lot of times we're hesitant to install things because we think, well, if I write this stuff out, then it feels robotic. I lose the humanity in that. And what we constantly come back to is you are a more human leader when you lay out the expectations, when you lay out the processes, and then allow the talent of the other person to come in. You know, I keep going back to some of the greats, Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, Tom Brady, LeBron James, some of the all-time great athletes, Peyton Manning. What do they all have in common? Well, they all had coaches. That's one of the things they have in common. But another thing they had in common was that they all followed a system. They all followed a process. In fact, a lot of people will make the argument that Tom Brady is not Tom Brady without Bill Belichick's system. Joe Montana is not Joe Montana without Bill Walsh's system. And so the system was the stage for the talent. The talent doesn't have an opportunity to emerge without the system first being installed. And with this heroic small business owner held up those few sheets of paper, what he was holding up was the system that was then going to unleash the human talent side of his team. I could make the strong argument that this particular business owner so deeply cared for his team that he wrote out processes for them to be able to follow. And I want to make that same encouragement to you. Begin to draw out your vision story. Begin to draw out the systems, the processes. Begin to share them in weekly team meetings and develop that into a habit. Begin to develop those daily huddles. One I've not even told you about was a couple of days ago in a daily huddle. And a team member starts tearing up because of the life change that's going on in this non-faith-based bureaucratic entity. But because they're meeting every day and they're having human conversation around the system and process that needs to be implemented, all of a sudden life change is beginning to happen. There's a camaraderie and a teamsmanship that did not exist before. So you think systems and processes are too robotic? Don't. Stop thinking that. And begin to implement in such a way where you actually unleash the human spirit, unleash the human talent. And lo and behold, you will start to be liberated from the chaos that you're feeling. You know where to start. mybusinessonpurpose.com/vision. And we'll see you next time, right here, where we can encourage you and help liberate you from that chaos on the Business on Purpose podcast.